Welcome to the Champion Blueprint Podcast, where mindset meets mission.
We're diving into what it really takes to lead, win, and live with purpose.
From NFL locker rooms to boardrooms, it's all about discipline, core values, and the habits that build champions.
Whether you're leveling up in business, life, or leadership, this is your playbook.
Champion your mindset.
Champion your purpose.
Let's go.
We're back again. George Rogers, always to my left. The champ.
Yes.
Bam.
Let's go.
Gary Brackett.
Hey, let's go, man.
I always wanted to have like a DJ board. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just messing around on some of those things. It was always an idea, Gary. It was something in my mind. It was like, man, as if I need another thing. It's like it was full of those ideas. And speaking of that, last week we talked about the fatherhood. Yeah. Father's Day. Hopefully you had a great Father's Day.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully you too.
I didn't say it before on the pod, but I'm gonna say it post Father's Day. Shout out to those guys out there and the men that gave us some feedback. Some women that was like, hey, we do things too. We say Happy Mother's Day. Come on, Felicia.
Yeah, man.
But I have an idea.
Yes,
How often does that thought come out of your mindset, and then you actually just say, I got an idea? How often do you say that, Gary?
Oh, man. Every day almost.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot.
Yeah. And so today, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about, because a lot of us have these ideas. We talk about ideas, especially in the world we're living in now. Everybody has this idea for a podcast. Everybody has this idea for a book. This idea for social media, how we're going to be able to do this, whether it's on Twitch or Kik, all these different platforms and what you want to do, selling products on platforms and things of that nature, or, conferences and ideas for their conferences. We have all of these ideas. But what happens so often is that we always have a ton of ideas, especially for the creative mindsets. The people that just we're fire starters. If you're like me, you have a vision mindset. You got this visionary mindset, creative outlook on things, and you see problems and you got an idea for what can be a solution for that. In the world of AI, Gary, idea creative people are living in heaven right now, because you can take everything. Ideals. Yeah, it's countless ideas that you can take out in there to the world. But oftentimes, Gary, the idea becomes somebody else's reality.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times. And shout out to some of the guys and some of my buddies. But we be sitting and we be having these conversations like, man, I had this idea, and a year later I saw it on TV, I heard it on the radio, or somebody else did it. And the thing about ideas for me, Gary, because there's good, bad, and ugly. The good is you have an idea that could be worth and value of something.
Yeah. The
bad is you have an idea, but you don't have no discipline. The ugly is you told your idea to the wrong person and they took it from you. Right? And so within these creativities, you got to be able to protect the idea that can become a vision, that become action.
No question.
Be careful who you share your ideals with is that lesson. But talk a little bit to me. Share, give me one good idea you had that you wish you would have done. Maybe somebody else did it, or you saw it come to pass somewhere else, or it's still sitting at the graveyard.
The idea of just when Bitcoin and all that stuff came out, the idea of like investing.
Yeah. You took a layout to do it.
Right? And it's, I should learn about this stuff. This is going to be new currency. And didn't do anything. Right? And it's just, some of those things now, there's AI and other things you could, take advantage of, or ideals of how you can invest. But those things are just like, man, only if I executed on that and went through with it.
Yeah. And so it's not often, especially when it comes to success, you always say, what does it take to be successful? Sometimes it's taking the idea to the next level, but it's never about, like, the unsuccessful people. It isn't about talent.
No.
A lot of times, like, I don't know if I'm skilled enough. And it's rarely about talent, and it's more about lack of execution.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't have the talent, somebody that may be able to be a partner in that, or somebody that may have a creative idea to be able to take your idea to another level, to be able to expand on it. And so it's never about the lack of creativity and talent. It's really about how can we execute these things. And so today, Gary and I are going to break down four steps to take your idea to action.
I like it.
And be able to scale it. So let's kick this off today, Gary. Number one is important to me, and that's the first step you want to take is clarify the why. Clarify the why. When I think about this, Gary, it's again, it goes back to, I have this idea, but why? Let's use your example. You talk about Bitcoin and that's not even, necessarily a vision of building a business. That's just an investment. Yeah. And a lot of times we take, some people see it as a risk. Some people see it as an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And in the beginning, it looked like a risk, but really it was blinded as an opportunity, because had you invested in a Bitcoin, right? Let's just say $1,000, for some who you say maybe all you had is $10. That $10 today is worth hundreds of thousands, if not over $1 million.
Absolutely.
In that small investment. So why is it important? It's a step one to clarify the why in the idea.
I just like we mentioned, ideas are going to come and go, and they're a dime a dozen. But is the why consistent or meaningful enough to you?
Ooh, I like that word, meaningful.
Right? For you to actually do what's required to execute on the idea.
Yeah.
Because if it's not meaningful enough to you, it doesn't mean anything to you. When things get hard or another idea comes, you're just going to gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
So the why question is so important because the meaning that it holds.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to the first question is never about what do I want to do, right? It's really should be why.
Yeah.
Why? And that's just in life and in general. Why do I want this promotion? We talked about it about a month ago about the impact of that seeking that financial gain at work or seeking that title at work. There's always going to be a why to that, right? And then there's also going to be a repercussion or responsibility, if you will, to those promotions. When it has to do with the idea of something, the idea of growing a business, the idea of starting a business, the idea of being seeking a promotion, the idea of seeking transition to another company, idea of, hey, how do I take my relationship to the next level, right? Understanding the why behind it is what's that sense of purpose? What do you gather from there? What do you gain from those deals? Clarifying that helps establish so many different things. And this is what I want to do. Let's break down what it establishes. When you clarifying the why, I believe the first thing that you're establishing in that is what you said, and that's meaning.
Yeah.
What's the meaning behind this?
Yep.
I think the second thing that you establish is purpose.
Yep.
Now that I understand what this means to me and I understand this why, then it gives me a sense of purpose. And when I think when I believe in it, and I won't say think, I know when a person has a sense of purpose in their life, they do things differently. When you understand your purpose, you change the way you use your time and spend your time. Yep. You also change the way you allow things to worry you or not worry, right? When you understand purpose, certain things don't worry you like they used to. When you have a sense of purpose, how you spend your time and who you spend your time with changes all of a sudden. And so clarifying the why is such an important step. Number 2, shrink the starting line. Shrink the starting line. When I think about people who take risk, starting a business or starting an idea, creating an opportunity for themselves, they fall not because the goal was too big, but because the starting line was too much. I look at this, Gary, as simplicity.
Yeah.
So when I say shrink the starting line to you, you got an idea. We clarified your why, Gary.
Yeah.
But now I want you to shrink the line. What do you get from that statement?
Yeah, when I think about shrinking the line, I think so many people only want it big. Like they got these macro plans.
Yeah.
And that's great. But those don't happen overnight. But that shrinking the line to me is like micro. What can you do today?
Yeah. What
can you do if you start tomorrow? Like what things can you consistently do that can be repeatable that could potentially lead up to one of those macro whys?
Yeah.
And sometimes, even if we simplify it to not money or a business idea, just your weight, if you don't shrink your why and you want to lose 40 pounds and your goal is 40 pounds, no, you got to lose 2 pounds this week.
Yeah.
All right. And today we got to exercise for 30 minutes. We got to walk. We got to drink more water.
Yeah.
And when you shrink it, when you do those things, it then becomes attainable. It then becomes like feasible because those things aren't intimidating because they're digestible enough. They're bite size.
You're making me hungry, Gary.
Hey.
But what I hear there is like, if you're building a staircase, don't try to build the top stair first. Don't try to build it with the end goal. Like have the end goal in mind, but you got to take the first step.
Yeah.
You got to take the first step of the staircase and slowly be able to process those things. And so when we talk about shrinking the line, and I'm hearing what you're saying, Gary, we're talking about simplicity.
Yeah.
Right? What's the first thing? Again, last week we talked about the one thing. We talked about the champ reset and resetting your mind. That connection is here today because with that reset, you really have to provide simplicity. Yeah. And not just for yourself, but for those who you may have involved with you on this idea. To be able to simplify that process. And as Gary said, losing 50 pounds is not going to happen on day one. Absolutely. But what will happen on day one is the plan and the process on how you're going to be able to get there. Yep. Because if you have that plan, you have that process, you have that purpose, your actions become so much different. Again, when purpose is aligned with what you're doing, that idea, your actions become unstoppable, right? Yeah. The mindset is there. And as we always say, as we're in it, you got to be able to champion that mindset to be able to do that. Yep. Instead of launching the perfect business, I think about, some of the things, instead of launching the perfect business, what's the one phone call I can make today? Right. If I got an idea on an opportunity, I know there's 3 or 4 people that I'm going to call when it comes to business. Now, in those calls, what do I want to ask? I'm not just picking up the phone and say, hey, Gary, man, I got an idea. No, I'm saying, Gary, hey, listen, I want you to hear me. And then I got a question after I share what I'm going to share, right? And so I have an idea on starting a business. But my question to Gary, after all that vision I'm laying out for Gary, is not about what you think. Gary, I want you to think inside this box with me and give me one reason why this will work. Because selfishly, I've already thought about 10 ways that why it won't work. Yeah. Right? I don't have the time. I don't have the resources.
It's too crowded.
It's too crowded space. I lack confidence. Here comes another thing that George is going to start, right? Everybody else is going to be doubting me. So we could think of all the negative things, but one of the most important things that I'm always going to ask somebody that I'm going to reach out to is, why will this work?
I like it.
Right? Because then it gives me a perspective that if Gary sees this as a problem, his solution is right there on the tip of his tongue, right? Yep. And so it creates curiosity, but it also creates awareness on that aspect. And so when you're thinking about an idea, shrink the starting line and really break it down. Yeah. If you're wanting to lose weight, the weight is 50 pounds. What does the process look like? How are you gonna start? If today you're saying, hey, I'm cutting out, I'm limiting my sugars. Some people can go cold turkey. Yeah. If you say, hey, George, stop it. When it comes to food, boom, I'm done. Yeah. Right. If it's a drink, boom, I'm done. Now, what are some things that are not cold turkey in my life? Right. Those are different aspects. And so you got to be able to cut things down. Some people can go cold turkey. And so don't get into the habit of saying, well, Gary does it, so I can be able to do it. We're all different. Yeah. What I may be able to do cold turkey, Gary may say, I may need a few weeks to wean myself off of. And Gary said, hey, George, I'm getting in the gym and I'm doing 3 days. George's like, hey, give me 30 minutes one day. Yeah, right? Exactly. And then let's do that for 2 or 3 weeks. And then I'll give you 30 minutes twice a day. Yeah. Right. And so don't judge somebody else's success on your accountability of your idea for those things. Number three, build accountability. Now, this is tied into how I just ended the last segment. But I believe the importance of accountability. And we talk about accountability so many times, Gary. Absolutely. This is episode 36, and I feel like accountability has come up probably in a third of those, if not more. Yeah. But it's so important for us as humans to hold ourselves accountable, but also find an accountability partner that can say something as simple as, hey, Gary, I know you're doing X, Y, Z. Can I just check in with you? Yeah. Right. Having a friend that's going to just check in and hold you accountable to those things. If you don't have somebody that'll check in automatically on that, assigning somebody to those, connecting to somebody, talk a little about
or even paying someone, and from a coaching standpoint, right? I just think it's critical because left to our own devices, right, we won't execute, and it just been an ideal that goes past the wayside. But once you commit to it, once you assign someone, once you reach out, identify someone that can help you in this goal. And they hold you accountable, and there's metrics in place, and there's those small steps that you guys are all committed to. I think that goal becomes a lot more realistic because you took the necessary steps and make sure you can execute.
I always say ideas grow in isolations, but results grow in accountability. And so you have an idea, they'll grow, they'll pop out like weeds. I have a ton of ideas.
Yeah.
Ideas grow in isolations, but results grow in accountability, right? And so many people really try to keep their ideas private, Gary, because that fear of rejection, that fear of judgment, because it doesn't come through or they get stuck. I think about the positive results of accountability is that if I am ever stuck and I have somebody, I'm paying a coach or I have a mentor in my life, and I'm seeking time with, that accountability is not just to say, hey, I'm failing. That accountability is to say, hey, I'm stuck. And this is what I've done. This is where I'm at. Can you help me, right? When I think about a coach in my life, the coach has never given me the answer, right? The coach is providing thoughts to pull the answers out of me. George, you already know it. You just need somebody outside the box to really help you out. Sometimes in that aspect, you have to step outside of the painting. You think of a painter that's painting a portrait. Sometimes they stop and you'll see them step back. And they're trying to see the whole perspective because sometimes we're up and close and personal with these ideas that we never take time to step back and really understand what's going on in that aspect. And so the power of accountability is so crucial, not just so somebody's going to judge you, but somebody can help you through it and think through it so that you can thrive through it in that step. Number 4, measure progress, not performance. Because sometimes, again, you share an idea with somebody, somebody's going to be like, hey, how you doing? And I'll even say this, measure progress, not perfection, right? I'd rather my kid, and I think about his basketball, he has that Joakim Noah shot. It's his little spin. It's not directly Joakim Noah, but he has a unique shot. And I so bad want to break him of it. Every all season, like we have 3 or 4 weeks, I'm trying to break it. And he can shoot left and right. The problem is that he writes left-handed. And so in his mind, he thinks I'm left-handed for everything. Yeah. But whether it's throwing the ball, sometimes power's in his left, but accuracy in his right. And so the best idea for him is just I'm gonna use both. And I don't know how it works, but he's hitting. Yeah. And so it's like, all right, it's not perfection for me. Yeah. But his progress and developing, he's working on his shot, he's working on his dribbling. Talk a little bit about that because sometimes we get so down on ourselves, especially in the ideas. For those who already have a business and they got an idea, maybe they want to add a new revenue stream, or maybe it's an idea to elevate their systems and their strategy, their processes within their business. But the mindset of progress versus perfection.
Yeah, I think oftentimes we get so caught up on results that we don't realize it's the process that yields those results. Yeah. And a lot of people are in business, but they aren't doing the numbers that they want to do. And oftentimes when you coach them, they even say that what you're mentioning, they attempted before. But the only thing with that is like, there's so many variables that come into play with testing that you have to constantly retest and retry and fail over and over again, which is a tough thing for us to do. Yeah. Because people don't like the idea of failing. But I think that's the only way you could test out this ideal, as if you make that small progress, you fail, figure out what doesn't work, so then you figure out what does, and then you kind of double down on what does to kind of get your results. So it's all in those small little things, not taking failure as failure, but taking it as feedback and having that feedback constantly having tweak, adjust until you get that perfect formula.
Yeah. Championing is truly focused on the progress. I think about I remember when Urban Meyer went to Ohio State, and one of the things he talked about, embrace the grind. It was kind of the theme. Embrace the grind, because it was always about the progress. If you focus on the progress, and the reason why he did this, he believed champions focus on progress. Yeah. Because perfection creates pressure. Yeah. Progress created confidence. So if you embrace that progress, it builds that confidence. One game. One opportunity, one play. You lost a play. How do you win the next play? Yeah. Like embracing that progress really helped the mentality to where it became about the chase. The next step was the chase, winning the championship. And when they got that chase, it was back to we got to remember the progress. It's still about the progress. No matter if you're at the mountaintop or you're just starting as a team or an individual with that idea, you got to be able to embrace that progress because I believe it's there for you to have. So once again, I want to recap these these four steps that we talked about. Number one, and the importance of it was to clarify the why.
Mm-hmm.
Clarify the why, understanding that failure is not an option for a lot of things. You may fail at a few things, and it's kind of like what you said, and I believe it to a fact, is that you can't have a bad day, nor can you have a bad week. You can't allow those things to happen in your life. You can have a bad moment.
Yeah,
idea may have kind of been short, but you can't allow those bad ideas or those bad thoughts to create a bad day. And so taking those things for what they are, clarifying your why, aligning your purpose to those things. The second step is to be able to shrink the line. Start with the first step. Don't try to build a whole staircase in one day. Start with what it is, why you want to get there, how you're going to do it is important as well. And then number three, make sure you're building accountability, finding the right people around you that's going to help support you, all that. And then the final thing is that you want to measure with progress and not perfection. Yeah. Gary, for all those people who have ideas right now, we gave them 4 steps. If we were to say, hey, here's a bonus. Bonus with Gary B. Yes. There's Gary V out there, but I'm introducing you for the first time. Bonuses with Gary B. Special segment.
Nah, absolutely. I think I love the staircase analogy where you can't start from the top. You got to start one stair at a time. And then I would just add to that a lot of times the next step doesn't reveal itself until that first one is built. We're not going to have all the answers they want. And a lot of times we won't find out the answers until we begin the work. So we got to do the work in order to reveal the next step. It's like playing a video game. You want to beat Mike Tyson. Well, you got to take stages and you get to him. And I think in business and in life it's the same thing. You have to build up to that. And a lot of things don't reveal themselves until you do the work to calculate that next thing. So that's why I fell in love with the process. And a lot of times you can't see it because you haven't done the work yet and you haven't got yourself to a point where if you did see, you probably won't even recognize it. So I think it's like doing the work one stage at a time, not only will it become revealed, but then your ground and your foundation is more solid as well because you didn't take the stairs. Because you took the long way and because you built it from the ground up.
Reminds me of a story of a gardener, and this guy wanted to be a gardener. And all of his friends had this party and they all gave him different types of seeds. And he took those seeds and put them in his pocket. And over the course of months went by, and some of his friends was checking in. They're getting back together, and they're saying, "Hey, how's your garden going?" And he put it in his pocket. He said, "It's still right here." All of them. I appreciate y'all so much for giving me these seeds. And everybody's like, "But where's the garden?" He said, "It hasn't started yet." And so often we hold on to those seeds in our life. So finally, he went back. A couple of friends and said, "Hey, this is what you do. You can't hold on to these. You got to actually plant them so they can grow." And so he finally did that. Someone came in, they get their hands dirty, planting some seeds. Next time they got back together 3 months later, they asked him, "Hey, how's the garden?" He said, "Well, this seed never grew, but I have this picture of this flower." He said, "And then I got some of these things." And he named off 3 or 4 different things, but he said, "But 80% of the seeds didn't grow." And so often the idea doesn't grow because we hold on to it too long and the time is wrong. Sometimes it takes time to develop. Sometimes those seeds won't grow. The harvest won't grow right away. Sometimes you plant it and you'll see it a year later.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I encourage you today, if you're watching, if you're listening to this podcast, with all your ideas, all your creativity, plant the seed. Plant the seed and understand that the seed may not grow today, it may not grow tomorrow. The idea may not come to fruition for a year or two, but plant the seed and work towards that seed. And then use the 4 steps that we have. Clarify your why, shrink the starting line, build and create accountability, and then most importantly, to be able to finish that, measure progress. Don't measure somebody else's perfection. Don't measure something that you see on social media. Measure your own personal progress and celebrate your failures. That's my bonus for you today, is to celebrate your failures. Once again, we want you to champion your mindset so you can champion your purpose. George Rogers, the champ, Gary B. Let's go.